goal line, off fast line, deep fast line, and it's far line, a spot line, and it's sound line, and it's sound line, and it's sound line. Tick, tick. We're on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to another Coach to Coach. We are in week 6. That's right, getting down to the nitty gritty. I am Dylan Mack from Elmwood Park High School, the head coach there just outside Chicago, Illinois. As always, I'm with
Anthony Gonzalez. I'm the head coach at Everett Alvarez High School out in Salinas, California. Dude, 6 weeks of this, it's fun, but I still much rather be coaching.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, we could tell that this is now getting down to where guys are starting to get frustrated with their season, or they're making that big push to the playoffs from the questions we're getting.
Yeah.
So
it's okay. We've all been there.
Right. Right. Where you're either trying to make it fun for those seniors those last couple weeks, or you're trying to, figure out what your playoff lineup's going to look like.
Do you guys have 9? Well, how long is your regular season? Because we play a 10-week regular season. What about you guys?
We play a 9-week regular season.
Okay, so you guys would be definitely close to the end of the year thing. Okay. Yeah. Man, I'm like the time difference right now too. With how like the sun starts to set early. I'm like, we would be practicing right now, and the lights would be turning on. Like that's what's in the back of my head all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress.
Well, and it's starting to get cool out here in the Midwest. So it's like the fall air's coming through. It's like, man, this is football weather. It's like,
but it's not.
Sitting in my basement teaching.
All right, dude, let's get started. We're going to start with the good side of the ball today.
Well, no, we decided on defense first.
Oh, there he goes. All right, so the first question is from Coach Brandt out in Connecticut. Has anyone who runs the 4-4 ever changed run fits for your DNs and outside linebackers against a double tight wishbone? If so, was it effective with confusing the offensive line? I would say definitely yes on my side, because when I was the defensive coordinator, just without being the head coach, we ran a 4-4 with a flex linebacker. So I thought it was just called the 4-4 flex. But we would play games with our guys all the time, because one of our middle linebackers was basically lined up at 2 yards from the ball instead of back at like 4.5 to 5. And the way we run fitted our stuff was that our middle linebacker wasn't responsible for a gap, so he was free to run. But we would have to definitely play games with our D linemen, because our D linemen weren't very big. Like they were tall, they looked good in pads, but they just weren't very like big. Like I think they were probably like maybe 200 pounds at the most, which is at our school's like not a bad size for a D lineman. But yeah, we would always stunt, and especially with like run heavy stuff that was gap schemed, just to confuse gap scheme, runs. Because when I know we were on the wing T, right? So when guys scheme against us, every now and then we get confused because guys switch, and like that was supposed to be on my guy, but it's not. So yeah, we definitely played with that with the outside linebackers in the ends. I can't remember what the call was. I think it was like light chief, like a lighter, and chief like how I don't know. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that was it though.
Yeah, I mean, from like the offensive side of it, like looking at this question, I saw it, I'm like, well, offensively, our O-line, we have our rules. And so if a dude goes in, that's someone else's responsibility. So like he's moving on to the next guy anyway, but we're running a lot more zone. So like if it's more of a gap scheme where I'm getting a man, I need to go get to this landmark. Yeah, that might be confusing. I might catch a lineman running after somebody. But I think against your better teams, it might not be as confusing, because they're going to have more solid rules that they're going to kind of stick to. I would probably guess your better side of your line, because we all have a real good side and a side that we hope nobody goes to. Your good side is going to be able to handle that switch.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I can probably answer this question like a little bit better when we talk about the question that was talking about what did he call it? A T, straight T. I think the people that actually run it call it a power T. But I'll talk about the defense that we ran during that period, because the power T and the wishbone with double tights is almost the same thing. There's just, instead of the guys straight across, they're in a wishbone formation behind the quarterback. and you can still turn your back and do all kinds of these fakes and stuff. And it's a pain in the ass to stop. Like, it looks simple as hell. You're looking at it in film, you're like, oh, and then you don't know who has the ball because it's just so god dang good. I know I'm pretty sure it's pretty popular, like out in Minnesota. I don't know, like that. It's somewhere around where you're at, because the guy that I interviewed with the power tee, Gus Kapolka, he was somewhere from there. I got to look him up, but yeah, he was from somewhere around there. And he said, like, it's really popular in our region. And I'm like, good, because now you teach me how to stop it, because we play a team that does that. And I think that guy who runs the power tee in my area is from his area. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So you teach me how to do this, because they kick our ass all the time. All right.
Question. We got does anybody teach Nick Saban's pattern match coverage at the high school level? If so, hard or easy? Is it to get kids to retain that material? And that's Coach Latre from Alabama.
I don't necessarily teach that. Is he talking? Do you know if he's talking about the Rip Liz matchup, like the cover 3 thing? I think so, right? Because that's the thing that everyone wants to copy, I guess.
Right.
When we ran the 4-4, we were in a cover 3 all the time. So we never rolled down the safety, like for a cover 3. We were always had one high. We had a one high shell the whole time. But the rules that I taught the kids, especially the outside guys, they were kind of like what Saban already teaches, that safety, right? Like when he rolls down, if he goes out or up, it's pretty much your man. You're on, and that gets rid of the 4 vertical, right? That's I'm pretty sure that's what I'm thinking. But our outside linebackers, that was one of the drills that we did all the time. So like they would line up on number 2, and we were always head up on number 2. They would line head up, and if the guy tried to run out, he's running with the out, because it takes him to his curl flat out there. If he runs vertical, then he's automatically running vertical underneath to help the safety to get rid of the 4 vert against cover 3. It's not hard. I don't think it's hard. I think you just have to rep it.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Is like when we did it, I had a DC that's what he wanted to run, and when we did it, that was one of our everyday drills with our outside linebackers. Those overhangs out of that 4-2-5, and I mean they just got real good at getting either hands on or at least seeing what number 2's doing. If he's going out, they're looking for something coming back.
Right.
If he's going up, they're carrying him and pretty much taking him. So if there's 4 verts, they're on him. But yeah, it's just a lot of reps. It's expensive as far as practice time goes.
Yeah, because you do have, like you said, you have to rep it. And it's, again, one of those things where we've talked about before. It's just like you got to have EDDs and group drills that match your overall scheme. And if you are, giving them the same looks to give them the same reads, it becomes easier for them, like 100%, because they're used to it. But if it's something you're just trying to teach right off the gate, then they're not going to get it at first, and you're going to get frustrated. And you got to remember there's that learning period that you need in order to be successful at it. My light's not working. Oh, well. I was pushing the light on my camera. It's not working. I don't know. I walked into my office today and everything was broken. I don't know. I mean, my wife was in here working on my desk.
Was it rough Friday afternoon of teaching?
Nah, you know what? It wasn't actually, because I had to give a test. So it was more just sipping coffee, watching their screens. Maybe it is rough that way, because it's like, oh God, go back to your test tab, please. What are you doing? Oh man, I think we've had Coach Brower's questions before, right? Like
I feel like Coach Brower has been on a couple times.
Yeah. Okay. So, hey everyone, I need some more help. My kids are bad at tackling. All kids are bad at tackling. It's not a natural thing. They take bad angles and drop their head before they hit. Therefore, they lose the player. I'm trying to get my kids to do the rugby style tackling as presented by Coach Carroll of the Seahawks. That's pretty good. What have you done to help your teams become better tacklers? I need drills that start using in practice, and something we can do 2 to 3 times a week. And again, that Coach Brower in Utah.
Yeah.
You want to go
So
first?
yeah, that Atavius, that McDonald brought the guy on for one of our home clinics.
Mhm.
Definitely check them out. I would say they are phenomenal. They set you up with some nice, easy to understand videos, easy to understand PDFs that you can hand out to all your coaches. They were running a special over the summer. I don't know if it's still going on, but you can get most of their material for a discounted rate right now, or back then. But even their price for not without the discount wasn't bad for what you were getting, and they even give you a tackling plan to
Mhm.
put in for weekly tackling plan to put in. So I would say that for sure. And then yeah, it's just repping it and getting them comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And like the big thing, like we try to work on, is getting kids as close to the ball carrier as possible.
Mhm.
Because if we get to the ball carrier, all we have to do then is kind of fall on them, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true, right? Grab
like
and kind of fall. To add on to what you were talking about with Atavis, I'm looking at their pricing for their coaching. You're right, it's really not that bad. It's $49 for a year.
mhm,
And that's
yeah,
per coach, depending on how many coaches you have. That's still not that bad. And honestly, like if the coach really wants to get good at it, I've actually asked coaches to pay for things themselves and they've done it. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain certification they have to get in California that's like $75 and the class is like 3 hours online. It sucks, but they still pay for it because they want to be there. Um,
right.
I mean, maybe you can, swing it that way or kind of sell it that way. And I think you said before in Texas, everyone has to get certified through Atavis, right?
Right. So if you pay for that class or course or whatever
Mhm.
you want to call it, you can actually take the course that they have to take in Texas to get certified in tackling.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're not about to do that, I guess the things that I would recommend is um, we do like the shimmy with the right or the correct foot up with the correct shoulder up every single day.
Yep.
And then we do it from 2 yards apart. So it's like really close. And then we do it
Mhm.
like from 5 yards apart. So they have to practice closing space. And then we also do it from like, I think we put it at, I think the kids have a 15-yard gap and there's a cone in the middle. And there's a
Mhm.
cone like that tells the running back to cut or where they're going to cut. So they're going to make their cut left or right this direction. And then the defensive player has to get to their cone and then they have to angle tackle, but they're still just shimmying and like making sure that the correct foot is up with the correct shoulder. And we're not even hitting per se. We're more like tagging off, especially at that distance. That way we eliminate a bunch of contact. Like we'll do contact with that a couple times, but like it's not going to
Right.
be, we're going to hit every single time. I just want to make sure their right foot is up with the correct shoulder so their head's out of the way and then tag off with that. And then when they get closer towards the end of the year or even in the middle of the year, dude, honestly, like if when you feel your kids are comfortable, we actually have the kids make that cut and then they cut back. So
Okay.
they can choose to cut back. So it gives them like a real life game kind of feel, like guy makes a cut and he's trying to beat him to one side. Cool. Like I'm going to, make my tackle there. If he cuts back, I'm still in a good place to, defend the cutback and make a tackle right here. So like just get some used to it. I think one of the biggest things with Atavis in any tackling system is you got to give the kids like a mental plan of what's going to
Mhm.
happen. And if you don't give the kids a mental plan, then they're not going to know what to do. And then they're going to be extremely unconfident with what they're about to do. And that the confidence is what brings that like the hitting and the toughness into it because they know what they're getting themselves into and they have like the mental capacity like all right I gotta get low, get my shoulder on the right spot, drive for five, whatever you want to call it. And then usually after that the confidence issue is addressed, the hitting and the tackling just gets better.
Yeah. And I would say the other part with that is we started to, or well, I started to emphasize to my defensive coaches that they need to do tackling in their everyday circuit. So don't just do reads, but give me a read and then go make a play. because
Sure.
there's never a point on defense that you do your read, and then you just kind of stop and say, "Hey, we did our read. Yay! High
I'm
five."
here.
I feel my gap.
Yeah. Well, I made it to my spot, and you're gonna go to the ground now, right?
Right.
That's not how it's gonna go, buddy.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm down. You're right. You win. Dude,
Good
that's
job,
funny.
buddy.
Yeah, we did it, guys. We did it. Go team, go. Oh man. Okay, so I've been dreading this question because I think we were both looking stuff up before the show.
Right.
Defense for 9-man football. Everyone we run runs a spread offense in high school. This is Pat O'Connor. I don't know where he's from, but 9-man football we actually had to look up because we know 11, and we obviously like in the United States the smaller football is 8-man football, and you were saying that 9-man football is most common in Europe, right?
That's what it seemed like. And
Okay.
I mean, Pat O'Connor, it sounds kind of obviously you could not be from America and have a name like Pat O'Connor.
Yeah. But
Americans are from America. But
Americans are
I mean,
everywhere. The only ones who are not from anywhere are the Native Americans. Like, come on, let's go. Like,
there we go.
dude, we're supposed to be this like salad bowl melting pot thing, and I don't know. I'm not even talking about that because then I feel like I'm just gonna get political, and then this whole show is gonna turn some shitty direction. So let's just keep talking about football. Like that, it helps me feel united.
But yeah, so him saying it's in high school, I kind of feel like he's in the States. But yeah, we had to look this up. So what I found, and we were kind of talking about, is that the most common defense was a 4-3-2. So 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 2 DBs. And like, if you're going against a spread team, I guess I just don't know why you'd put 4 down linemen.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm going against a team, and we were kind of talking a little bit before, if I'm going against a team that doesn't have a quarterback that I'm afraid of running, I'm going to take those linemen off, and I'm going to put more fast kids on the field. Like I'm going to put cover guys on.
Yeah,
so like I might
run always good, right?
Right,
More
right.
speed
Like
is
maybe
good.
run a 2-3-4.
Yeah,
you know, like because I could always bring linebackers. Like I could always blitz people. Like,
unless that's unless that's against the 9-man rules. Is it? Do you think there's certain? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think
that's what I would do.
Yeah,
and then I would run something kind of like that pattern match coverage and take stuff away. And I mean, that still gives me 5 guys in the box. And that gives me 4 guys to cover. I don't know. I don't know. I'd feel pretty
solid
good
that way, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so the way I was kind of thinking about it is kind of like how you were saying with a 4-2 or a 2-4, and then what's left? That's 6-3, right? But then I was also talking about like maybe a 3-3-3, and then like you still have a 5-man box, which I'm assuming would be pretty good in 9-man football. Or I have a 6-man box. You're right. I have a 6-man box with that. And I would still probably be in some type of cover 3 pattern match with that thing. Because it's easy to break the field into thirds when you're in 3-3-3. I mean, that's kind of predictable though. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, but maybe your
cover 3 is a solid coverage.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be good all across the board. Like it's probably why it's been around forever, right? But like you could also like swap it down to, you know, what you had with the 2-4. I can't even do my math right now. 2-4.
I did 2-3-4.
Or you can do a 2-3-4. Oh, okay. So you want more DB, like a deep. Honestly, though, like, see, do that. I don't know. Like, I've never even heard of 9-man football before this this question, and you know, now I'm a little bit more interested, Coach O'Connor, because like you were one of the ones that actually put the question in our the survey thing on Facebook. So thanks for that. But like you stumped the hell out of me. Like I don't know. I've never heard of it.
I want to see some 9-man football.
I do. Like I want to see film. So if you have film, send it to me. I'm Huddle. Like Everett Alvarez High School in Salinas. Send that and just 9-man football this thing. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll watch that because that seems interesting. I've never heard of it before. 8-man, definitely heard of it. I know we've done shows 8-man, right?
Right. And we'll definitely give you more feedback. Like once we see it, because like we were looking for offensive formation. So we don't quite know exactly what the offensive formation looks like. Like, it's still 4 receivers out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it because I'm when we were talking, right? I was like, we figure out there's at least 5 guys on the line still, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
because I was looking at a flexbone 9-man formation, so it had the 5
Right.
guys on the line, quarterback, and 2 A backs and a B back, and I'm like, all right, that makes sense. But yeah, dude, I don't know. That's the shit. No crappy thing that I just don't know. And I don't want to give you an answer to something I know nothing about, and then I'm just a bigger douche or an idiot than I already am. All right, like, let's be for real.
But I will. And to me, I think that if it's a team that's throwing the football a lot, you put more people in the back end and you don't put as many people rushing. I think if you have 4 down linemen against a team that, and this goes with even if it's 11-man football, I'm not going to run a 5-2 if I'm facing a team that goes empty all the time.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to put myself in a bad spot where I got to run man constantly. If I can run a 2-3-4 or 2-2-5, where I can, because they're not running the football that much.
2-2-5 seems interesting.
Or I have
like
2 dudes that are D linemen
between a safety and a linebacker. Oh man, now I'm thinking of things.
Like, I mean, I guess that's the other thing. Like, now I'm thinking, okay, what's my personnel like?
Yeah.
Like, if I got a bunch of dudes kind of like Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed types,
dude, that's gonna be a badass defense.
Right. I'm going to stick
that one Troy
Polamalu.
Like, let's be for real. Like, if you have one of those guys, like, your defense better be badass, because that dude, man, I still show game clips of him to my high school kids. It's like, that fool was just bad, man. He's a bad man. Oh man. All right, dude. Let's go to the next one. Coach Tom's out in Michigan. He's asking, he's a defensive coordinator, and he says that his team totally took it on the chin tonight. He coaches 5th and 6th grade. They lost 20-0. Is that what that probably means, right?
Yeah.
But it says COVID rushed our season. Only 3 padded practices before the first game. Oh God. It was rough and on all phases. Tackling was bad. It was not aggressive. Offensive line can't block or pick up reads. We run a spread style offense and a 4-3. Any advice would help. My 4-year defensive coordinator and only lost 4 games in 4 years. Don't beat yourself up, dude. If you don't have the practice time, you cannot be good at what you're used to doing. Your kids just need reps. Like, they're not going to be good at it. They're going to be tentative about tackling because they've only had 3 padded practices. I don't know how many the other team had, but like, don't beat yourself up over losing 20-0. That still seems pretty close. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a huge blowout. No. But I mean, they're 5th and 6th graders. Yeah. And those kids also need the confidence. Maybe they're first year players too. I don't know the story behind that, but COVID's gonna affect not just, the Pop Warner type teams. It's gonna affect my school for sure. So like, I'm interested to see how my kids bounce back and what they're going to do. Because honestly, I have no idea. I don't even know what kind of shape they're going to be in. I'm pretty sure they're all just going to be fat. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I know there's a few kids that, did work out and have been running and stuff, but I don't know. I think COVID's just crushing everybody.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, 3 padded practices. There's not a whole lot of coaching. That's just, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the playbook. Hey guys, oh, by the way, we're playing tomorrow. Like, you're throwing enough in to get a game going. I mean, unless you run an air raid style offense in which in 3 days you get your whole offense in, which is phenomenal. So maybe you do with a spread style offense. And you just didn't want to come out and say it because you felt like you'd hurt Gonzalez's feelings. But the 4-3 defense, 3 days is, I don't know that 3 days is enough to really get all of your defense in, because there's a lot of intricacies. Granted, you're 5th and 6th grade. There's a lot of intricacies in a 4-3.
Well, do you guys have like a practice number you have to hit before competition? Because our kids have to be, they have to have 10 days of practice before they can be in any type of competition. Period.
Yeah, we got 12.
You have 12?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like, I mean, if you have 12 and we have 10, that's hard to ask your kids to get ready in 3. Like, God, give yourself a little bit more credit. Give your kids a little bit more time, because you're gonna need it. I mean, kids are kids no matter what age they are. They always need that extra reps, extra time to learn something. So I think honestly, if you're as successful as you say you are, you guys will probably be fine at the end.
Right. And to me, what this shows is like that team had better athletes than what you have. That's really all.
Yeah.
Is that they have like either bigger kids or better athletes. Because at Pee Wee, that's really what it comes down to.
Especially if they had the same amount of practice time.
Right.
Like let's just give the ball to Tommy.
That's what I would assume, right? Like,
yeah.
Right. So, all right. Here we go. This is Gonzalez's question here. How do you plan to stop ground and pound straight T from Coach Tim Wee?
Okay, so there is a team in our area that runs this. I don't know if they're still going to run this, because I heard through the grapevine they're going to open it up and still be in 21 personnel, but they're going to throw it a little bit. We'll see. Excellent. I doubt it, because dude, they're really good at this power T thing.
I get a lot of calls from California a lot. So
dude, okay, here we go. Well, if you get a call from a certain coach, and we'll talk about that later, then you tell me. I'm like, all right, this is right here. But we did have a spread team go wing T now, because they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm talking to you. Yeah, I know you. I know it. We know it. We've heard. So if you watching, I know it's you. Anyways, I digress. Let me think. What am I doing? Oh, power T, right? So there's a team in our area that runs the power T. They're really, really good at it. We weren't very successful stopping it. However, our guys were in the right place. The first play, they ran their version of, or they ran power, right? We had a guy there. We stopped it for a yard, and their kid just stiff armed the hell out of our guy and just ran. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. Okay, here we go. And honestly, like, the game plan we had was actually really good. We were in, you can actually Google it. We were in something called Okie Dog Pinch. The majority of the game, we did have a few changeups in there where our linebackers would kind of stack or be in like a tower just to mess with blocks. We would kind of stunt and move. But ultimately at the end, like, it came down to their physicality just completely demolishing us. Like, that's really what I thought was the determining factor of the game. Like, they were physical on both sides of the ball. And usually with that kind of team, that's how they play the whole way through. They're just, going to manhandle you and just work you the whole way. But I did do a clinic with Coach Capolco. I didn't find out where he was from. I should have Googled it or figured it out while we were talking, but I didn't. I forgot. And they run the power T. But he was telling me that he's had a few people he's come across where it's been harder to stop or harder to run their offense because of what they were doing. And the first way that he was telling me was he called it a 7-2 sailor. So basically picture an odd front with 7 guys on the line. So the corners are basically tilted and they're looking at the backs to their side. There's 2 safeties back there, and the free safety and the strong safety are also looking at the backs to their side. Your 2 outside linebackers are over the tight ends. I think he's even stacked them in the inside of the tight end, so a 7, but they have the tight ends man to man in case they release for a pass. And then you have a 4 tech, a 0, a 4, and then the Mike and the Will are pretty much in 30s over the B gap. All right. And so that really helped. Let me see, I have this thing written down. The linebackers are basically reading the guard pulls, and then they run the A gap creases. And they have to tackle the fullback, because honestly, like, if they're running the power T, like I think they're running the power T, then you're probably thinking fullback trap and then a sweep action, and then the quarterback rolling out with his hand behind his back like this, and you don't know if he has the ball or not, right? But if you don't tackle the fullback at first, like, that guy is going to have a big game, because he's got the quickest way to the end zone, right? The straight line. He's got the trap.
Right.
So like, that's one of the ways that he told me that gave them problems before. The second way, he calls it a 6-2 vampire. All right, so 6 guys on the line. Mike and Will are still stacked in 30s, but you have a 7 technique, a 5, a 2-eye, a 2-eye, a 5 tech, and a 7 from right to left. All right, and they're pretty much stacked like that way. You have 2 safeties that are about 8 yards and a yard outside of the tight ends. And then in the middle, like right over the center, but behind the linebacker still is another DB. So like that vampire guy, he's like a free runner to go wherever I think he thinks where the ball's at. In the notes that he gave me, he said the vampire lines at like 6 to 8, and they read the center's butt for the play side. So when the center blocks down, obviously you're looking at the center's butt, so that means you're going to fill that way. You know what I mean? The linebackers are still reading the guards, and they still run the A gaps. Let's see. He said that the outside linebackers are usually outside eye of the tight end. They get their hands on the tight end, and then they flatten the down block, and then they spill everything to the safeties and the backers that are flowing over the top. Gotcha. So, like, if you can picture that in your head, I mean, I could. Do I show this? I don't know. I don't know.
Create a pile.
What's up?
You create a pile in the middle and get everything to the outside.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Honestly, like that's what our rule was when we played. I wanted because they ran trap really well. I wanted my kids to spill everything because our athletes were more on the outside. Like our better tacklers and our athletes were our 2 outside linebackers, and our 2 middle backers were pretty good, but they were just slower. So
right.
And then our safeties were pretty good, but then that was one of the kids that got stiff armed and like off he went for 90 yards. Like, Jesus Christ, man, here we go. But anyways, so that's basically 3 different ways that we talked about, trying to handle this offense. But honestly, as soon as you say tackle everybody, that's when the coach on the opposite side knows that they're going to win. Like when you say tackle everyone, don't do that. Like, don't make your reads, make your reads on the line. And then, if the quarterback doesn't have the ball, obviously you're not tackling him. If the sweep guy doesn't have, watch the trap guy. Like that guy was the one that killed us the most. Like that's the dude. That's the dude they want to get the ball to. But don't get me wrong. I'm sure those 3 other backs are just as good. Like Jesus, if they run this, they're probably pretty good. That was long.
It was
for a little while because now we're talking about offense.
Thank God. I was going to turn my video off and go do something.
Yeah, you mean like that one SpongeBob clip 3 hours later. Oh man, okay, let's talk about the evil side. Oh, and we're already talking about empty. This sucks.
Right. I mean, what else would you want to talk about?
Yeah. Okay. So do any of you all have clips or ideas on QB runs out of empty? We usually read the backside D end in normal formations, and the Q runs and the running back just blocks the D end. We're having issues coming up with runs out of an empty backfield for a quarterback, and keeping the tackle on the backside keeping the tackle on the backside. Oh, so just keeping him there. Right. Usually we have an unblocked linebacker somewhere.
Yep.
And that's Coach Hospital in Florida. Okay.
Yeah, I had to double check that name. It was right.
Runs out empty. Yeah, that's okay. I know that there's a couple of wing T guys that run Q sweep out of empty.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's no read there. You're just kind of like going. I don't know if like that that's a good answer or not, but
right.
Yeah,
obviously you could run a draw, which isn't a read, but
no.
I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of a read. You go through your progression, nothing's there because they drop 10.
Yeah.
And you run. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you could do Q trap, you could do Q power. Like I mean, if there's no running back there, you can't. There's not a read.
Right, unless we're jetting across. You know, like there's some kind of jet because we ran empty and we ran jet and we ran quarterback trap underneath it to make it give the defense something else to think about, and that was actually pretty successful for us when we ran empty. It was either jet or trap, or we honestly kind of passed the ball. We did, and you know what? I was looking at our tape. We did run Y corner and scored a touchdown. We did. Yeah, you'd be proud of it. I'll send you that clip later. I don't know if it's actually Y corner, but we ran it out of trips and it was like, okay, cool. And we threw a bomb. Like, it wasn't a bomb. Like, our quarterback can't throw more than 30 yards, but he hit him on 29 yards and we scored.
Hey, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got any other runs on an empty?
yeah. Like, unless you're motioning someone, you can't really have a read because you're picking anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's the whole point of empty.
And then when you do read someone, though, that means it's a guy you don't have to block. So maybe you do block at the end and, you know, you have your jet motion running across, but maybe your read is now like the middle linebacker. And if that middle linebacker vacates, that means he's going with jet and your quarterback pulls it and then you're running some kind of gut or trap up the middle. I don't know. That's
because what we would do, kind of like what you're talking about with the jet, but instead of where it would be a trap with like a Q trap, it would be kind of like a Q lead, and that guard would lead through the hole and pick up that backside linebacker because we're reading the middle linebacker.
Mm. Yeah, exactly.
So,
I think we just call it there's something different. Same play, same exact play.
Yeah,
it was trap or gut, and our gut is like an exchange where the guard will lead. Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Because it was basically like a fold block. It happened pretty quick.
Yeah. Fold block. There you go. Let's just call it that. See?
There we go.
Air Raid and Wing T can agree on something, guys. We're not always enemies. We're frenemies.
Right. So, there you go, Coach Hospital. A couple things you could do. Use some jet motion. You could definitely run like a speed option.
Yeah.
Motion someone
for sure. I love speed option, dude. I think people don't run that shit enough.
No. Like, and that, like, to me is kind of a low cost play.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're telling your line doesn't really have to do anything new for the most part.
You're still
down blocking.
You're still reading the D end, you know?
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
Now you just got to tell one of the guys who's out and empty, you're the option guy. So instead of going forward, like, kind of backpedal and keep an option relationship with them. We did that a lot with Belly out of trips. Like, Belly out of trips, but the second receiver, he was our option guy because normally he would be that motion guy coming around, right? And like that orbit motion, we would call it belly motion. But yeah, like, all you got to do is teach your second or third receiver to do that, and you're good to go.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question for you guys. As I design up my playbook, which never good to start that way. We're in week 6. if we have a single wide receiver to one side and his route is a gift or option route, if the cornerback is playing soft, say 8 to 10 yards off, thus giving us 4 to 5 yards 4 to 5 yard hitch, what are the fine teaching points of the hitch? Catch football. Specifically, does he turn 180 degrees, or when he breaks, does he go toward the sideline, a bit towards the inside, a bit? Coach Jackson from Argentina.
Are you okay? I mean, before you answer this question, like, did something happen? Like, are you feeling all right? You're a little saucy this morning, aren't you?
The twins slept through the night, so like I have a full night's worth of rest.
Nice. Oh, so you're just the wits are just coming right now.
Right.
Got you. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I honestly, I'm not going to answer this question. I have the lasso drill. That's what he's gonna tell you. Do that. So the
catch- lasso drill. Oh, the lasso drill. What's the lasso drill?
I don't know, or the noose drill. The noose drill. Oh, I don't know what it's called. Yeah.
No, I would say the fine teaching points is that you want to catch the football. Like, catch football, get upfield. Like, there's no way they want to break. I would tell them to attack football, but as we talked about last week, normally attacking the football means they stand there. Yeah. When you tell them not to attack the football, they stand there. So it depends on how high you want to raise your blood pressure, like, because you told them to do something and they're not doing it. If you want to take 2 steps off the line, like, that should give you about 4 yards. All right, maybe about 3, and just turn, get that ball out quick. I would say for the quarterback, to me, that's more where the fine coaching points are, is that he's throwing that ball before the guy's looking. So he's knowing that if that DB is 8 to 10 yards off, this ball is going to be at 4 yards. So I'm putting it almost kind of like a back shoulder fade, but not really. But I'm putting it at 4 yards. That receiver, I don't care what he's doing to get to that point, because I truthfully want him to keep getting the DB to go back. So if he takes 2 solid hard steps upfield and then just kind of turns and stands there, that ball should be pretty much on him pretty quick.
So
and I'd be all right with it.
Where you're telling the quarterback, okay, if you throw it on the inside shoulder, you're telling him to turn to the inside. If you're on the outside shoulder, you want him to go to the outside and gain more yards. Like, you ever heard that before? Like, that's
yeah, we work on that. That's in the settle and noose drill.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Yeah,
we work on that. It like the receivers do it, I would say like maybe 20% of the time.
Okay.
Like most of the time, they feel more comfortable catching it, and they'll go to their dominant side. Like no matter where they are, they're going to turn and go to their dominant hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we'll work on it. We coach it, but in the game, I'm going to take what they give me.
What you get, yeah.
So, and truthfully, I want them more so get the ball, catch the ball, and then get upfield, right? Because if they catch the ball at 4 yards, the DB takes 2 backpedal steps, so he's probably at 12. So that's 8 yards of space that he's going to have to make a decision and make a tackle. Well, I need to gain as much of that 8 yards as possible, right?
Okay.
I mean, you're a math guy.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
So that would be mine, Coach Jackson. Is you work with the quarterbacks, don't worry about the receivers. Keep working on receivers catching the football.
Is his full name Jackson Argentina, or is he from Argentina?
He's from Argentina.
Got you. Okay. Next question. Yeah. I was just curious, late reading that. What are your go-to routes versus a cover 2? Coach Plyler in Texas. Mesh, Y cross, Y stick.
Never seen a coverage I didn't like.
We're gonna run all of our routes on any coverage. I think that's how. I don't know. I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know. I would say I'm gonna say I don't know what you would answer. I'll let you answer first because you're the thrower.
I guess I would run stick, just because you're going to get a fade on the outside, and then stick would be a good one. Corner is a good one because you could sell the post before you go to the corner, and then you also keep that the cornerback shallow with either the snag or the hitch underneath. But yeah, I'd say those would probably be my true 2 go-to routes. If I want to hit home run ball.
We have most of our plays, our pass plays, are play action.
Yeah.
So we would just adjust our like waggle to cover 2 drops. But usually teams have like boot rules in their defense, so like we have to see if they do have boot rules, and we'll run it just to see what they're doing. And then if they don't, then we'll kind of take them off to the sideline and adjust to what they run. Because I mean, that tight end dragging across the field, it's usually pretty wide open. Our quarterback just has to hit it. And then that backside post, if it's a cover 2, well, he's running right up the out, like, right between the 2. And then there's a rule with middle field open, middle field closed with that backside post. But we hardly ever throw that. That's usually a call on the sideline. Like, hey, coach, they're the guy in the box, or we're looking at our iPad. This guy, he's wide open, because the safety who sees the tight end coming across, he comes down. And then usually that thing's just right out the gate. But yeah, we usually just adjust our play actions to the coverages that we think we're going to see. But again, I think I've said before, we hardly see cover 2s. We see a lot more cover 3s than anything.
Well, yeah, especially being a wing T team. You're going to, why would you put 2 safeties deep and then roll up 2 corners, where those corners are coming in to fit up in the box anyway?
Yeah, and corners don't like to fit up in the box. So when corners fit up in the box, it makes us happy.
Right.
All right.
So, the other one, Coach Pilar, would be I'll go and then drag that backside receiver across. So I would go trips and then drag that backside receiver.
Do you think people would stay in cover 2 if they come out in trips? Or you're just hoping they would?
I'll go 2 by 2. It doesn't really matter what.
Well, because we're not like, I'm just thinking like we're not going to run cover 2 in trips. I don't know. Like, I just don't like that because there's too many like vertical alerts everywhere, and that coverage way harder.
Right.
Verts everywhere.
No, but 2 by 2, and 2 by 2, and then drag one of the backside receivers.
Yeah.
Really, either one.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that then that corner has to go, that safety has to go, and then I'm dragging across. If I had a solid tight end, I mean, you see the Chiefs do it a lot with Kelsey, where they have Hill and any of their other fast guys go deep, and then Kelsey just kind of.
I'm gonna pick a spot. This looks like a nice place to settle a noose.
Right.
Okay. I'll watch that. They're playing someone today. Oh wait, no, that got canceled, right? They're playing the Pats.
Yeah.
I can't believe they canceled that game over one player.
Well, I think there's a bunch, but
no, I think it was just Cam.
No, I think there's more than just Cam.
Oh well, if it was just Cam, then I'm like super.
Well, I think they need to test everybody now because
he got it.
How many people come into contact with your quarterback?
Yeah, a lot probably.
Right.
So let's go to the next question. We kind of just answered this one. What are some of the things y'all do out of empty? I'm sure you run. Oh, this is from Coach Kent in Arkansas. I'm pretty sure you run everything out of it. You can run everything out of empty, all your pass stuff.
Right.
Sure. In terms of, I don't know, did I steal your answer?
You did, but I mean that's not really much of an answer. I guess there's nothing I don't like to not run out empty.
Mm-hmm.
If that's an answer.
It's an answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with the air raid, like why shouldn't you be
right.
everything out of empty, right?
I mean, right. And especially if I have a quarterback like this year, hopefully this year, I have a quarterback that can run a little bit. So running him on a draw play wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because he's like 6'3", 6'4", and he can scoot a little bit. So
that's a big head. Jesus Christ, that's a big ass kid.
Yeah.
How's he eating?
Yeah.
I'm gonna come eat some, or tell my kids what to eat because they're all short.
He's real skinny.
Yeah. We've talked about it for our offense already. We only dabbled in empty like the last 2 weeks. So we got really good at running jet, and then out of the jet motion, we would run Q trap. That I said it before too. That actually helped win us the last game of the season that we had. And then we do run a little bit of like floods and Y stick concepts out of that too. So that's all we do. Like honestly, if you see us in empty, it's gonna be like maybe 3-4 plays.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be different this year. Maybe we'll be in a little bit more empty. Maybe we'll run mesh. I don't know. Oh God. All right.
Here you go. This one's a good one for you.
Okay.
So for those with a dual threat quarterback, how do you help your quarterback develop the running aspect of his game? Do you practice non-designed QB runs? What I've started doing team periods and even Skelly is to teach my high school QB go through his progression while being aware of potential holes that open up for running. I usually tell him that he has one run every 4 plays and he can use whenever he wants. If the coverage is good and there's a hole, I want him out of there. At the same time, he can throw. So what to emphasize passing in practice in hopes that it will become one of his strengths. Coach Rivera, and this is from Sweden.
Oh, Jesus. Actually, one of my roommates was from Sweden. He played football.
Oh.
Yeah, in college. I can't remember his name, though. He was a cool dude. So hang on. I guess I'm kind of confused. So the quarterback is good at passing already, and he wants him to run better?
Right. That's what it kind of sounds like, is that he's a better passer than runner.
Okay.
But he's a capable runner. And he wants to work on the running game aspect of his game.
Okay. So if you want him to work on the running aspect, why not just throw him into some running back drills with spend like a 1 day a week, his individual times with the running backs, and that way he works on ball handling and any type of agilities that the running backs would do. if it doesn't sound like they're like designed runs, it sounds like you want him to pass the ball, and then if he sees room, just to take off. So I think you also have to probably teach him like where the natural gaps would be. Like if you have a wide rusher, you want him to probably step up and escape through like the B gap. You know what I mean? Like, and then if the rusher crashes down, you want him to be able to escape outside to C or C to D and then run that way. Yeah, because there was a pretty good drill with that I remember doing with our quarterback, where he had to escape and he had to figure out which way to go. And honestly, at first he kind of would run into the defender because he wasn't used to trying to escape. And we taught him the front side first, and then we had to teach him backside. And then for us, our quarterback was a lot better at spinning out on his backside. So instead of stepping up and then just moving to his left, he was more comfortable spinning out of it because he could feel if he's looking this direction, he would feel the rush coming on his backside, and it was just more comfortable for him to spin out and go that way and escape that way. It kind of got him in trouble a little bit, but because again, we had to teach him to also step up and then out through the beacon on that side. But like that's how I would do with him if that's what we were doing.
Yeah, like Lincoln Riley has a bunch of pretty good drills that are pretty easy to find on YouTube, with some pretty easy to get equipment like those Bosa balls and stuff like that. And then Ohio State does some drills like that with beanbags, where they kind of toss some beanbags at the quarterbacks as they're in their drop, and then they kind of have to dodge the quarterbacks and just to get them comfortable with moving in a non-quarterback like way. Because you look at your normal pro style quarterbacks, they're upright, they're on both feet, they're not looking to run. If you want more of like a Lamar Jackson, a Michael Vick type quarterback, you have to you have to kind of train them differently than you would Tom Brady and Peyton Manning or Drew Brees, right? So I would say you want to look for those kind of drills, and then kind of hitting the same thing. You just want to show them where those holes would be, and teach them how to slide or where to run out of bounds.
So I'm looking at the next questions, and I'm kind of figured that I'm gonna go make lunch, take a break while you answer the rest of these, because quarterback drills, air raid concepts, combinations. Oh my god, I'm out. Quarterback drills is learning how to do your first few steps on a clock. So you step at 6 o'clock, you turn and pivot, step at 6. You should look at that. But yeah, so next question is from Coach Ivany in New York. Coaches, I'm looking for drills to help a young quarterback throw with his legs or hips. Anything in mind?
So you got the thing from Dak Prescott last year before the Monday night game.
Oh, the little hip shimmy thing. Yeah.
This is a little like salsa dance. Like I guess that would work. I don't quite get how it translates. I mean, I get how it translates, but I don't understand for like high school kids all over the place. We're starting to do it, and it's like, that's not getting you to throw the ball better. But cool, man. You look like Dak Prescott.
You do you, boo.
Right. One drill I really like is going underneath the goalposts and having your guys throw from underneath the goalposts. Start with just throwing to the end zone, so to the goal line, and then back up 5. And then I wouldn't throw more than probably about 6 balls. And every completed ball, so a completed ball is a ball that's going to hit. Basically, I say it's a catchable ball. So if their partner can catch it, we can then back up to the next 5 yards. But that really forces them to get their bottom half in line with their upper half. And it also makes sure that they're not overemphasizing with their arm, where their arm's getting so high and you're kind of getting that lollipop type throw. You still got to put it on kind of a pretty good rope. The first time you do it, like I would suggest going out there and doing it yourself, because when you do it, you're going to realize how kind of hard.
I've done that before. It's hard.
Yeah. So that to me is one of the best drills to get them to work their bottom half. So if you are on turf, chances are you have to tell them to bring their gym shoes because the track will be where the goalpost is. If you're on grass, then they'll be good. But that's my go-to drill to get their legs and hips and upper body kind of all in one. So,
All right, dude. Next one for you, Coach Wheatball in Texas. Any help with rollout, sprint, air raid concepts or combinations?
so we don't really roll out too often. Like, quite honestly, I don't roll out at all.
What about
Like,
now with more of a kid that can run? Are you feeling like doing that or just
no,
doing the same?
like it's another protection that you have to work on with the lineman.
Okay.
You know, like we were never at Elmwood Park. We were never really good at boot pass or sprint out. And I've been better at other places, but just for whatever reason at Elmwood Park, we weren't. So to me, it was just like, well, I'm not going to waste my time trying to put that in when we're real good at straight drop back pass protection.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to work having that quarterback get a good read, get a good feel, step up through the pocket, and then kind of move than I will on my boot pass. But for rollout and sprint, yeah, I guess a sail would be a good concept. Kind of your waggle pass, where you have anybody from that backside dragging across it's not necessarily an air raid concept. I mean, it's just your normal flood concepts. I don't think, truthfully, there's been any great breakthroughs in boot passes in the last 60, 70 years.
I think
if you look at them all, they're all pretty much the same thing.
Pretty much some kind of some kind of waggle, some kind of something like that, right? Well,
right. You got that backside dude that's always open.
Yeah, most of it's some kind of levels. You know, you have short, medium, and long. Like that's usually the concept that comes out with the rollout. I mean, that's usually a concept for all kind of pass plays, right? Like, I mean, I guess I don't know, but
yeah, for
our passing scheme, there's usually some kind of level route.
Right.
Okay. Oh wait, we have a wing tee question.
We do. I wanted to get to it quick before you fell asleep.
Oh God, I was close. That's why I poured more coffee. Like I'm still using my coffee makes me poop mug because it really does. I don't know. Anyways, I'm normally a spread guy, but we've hired a new coach and he's a wing tee guy. He's the best guy in the world. But I want a system in place that we can execute with our type of players we have. We're a small school. You have 180 kids. Oh my God, 180 kids total. And there's 20 to 25 players. Our biggest lineman this year is 210, but most of them are 170 with smaller backs. Can my guys at their size execute the wing tee style of offense effectively? 100% yes. Yes, you can. Because the wing tee blocking isn't about, manhandling the guy in front of you. It's about angles and pad level with the blocking scheme. So there's a clip that was floating around on Twitter where it was Citadel College and Alabama, and Citadel runs the flex bone. So obviously that's not the wing tee, but their one back, he went up against obviously, some DN from Alabama, and he destroyed him. Destroyed that Alabama defender, DN, but he did it because of his pad level and where his shoulders were at and how he was driving his legs. And that's basically the idea of what we were doing. He had a good angle on the guy from alignment. And then, he just had good pad level and got him right on the hip and just drove his ass. And it was glorious. Right. I think I saved it on DM'd myself that clip because I was like, I got to show this to the kids, But yeah, our tight end this year, he was 175 and that was probably soaking wet. And that's not really a big tight end, he's not a big old bruiser type of kid. But we had him blocking DNs and, linebackers that were blitzing or whatever. And the biggest point, and we would show it in film all the time, was how low he was and how he drove his feet. So when he hit someone, he hit him right on the hip. And, when you have your hips taken away from you, it doesn't matter how big you are, you're going to get moved. And, the blocking scheme works well for undersized linemen. And honestly, that's probably one of the bigger arguments with wing tee people. They run the wing tee because of undersized linemen. That's kind of why we run it. Our linemen at my school, we're not that big. We have a few beefy kids for sure. But for the most part, our average size, honestly, across our whole football team average, we're probably like 5'9", and we probably weigh about 175 on average.
Yeah.
So yeah, like wing T, I'm all for. Go for it. Let him do his thing.
No, I mean,
Give him a year or two as well. Like you can't just say, "Oh, this isn't working." Like 1 year of wing T, that's not going to do.
no, because it's going to take a little bit to get those kids to switch over.
Right. Yeah.
From having fun, doing practice, loving life, to grinding it out every day and hating everything about football.
Yeah, because that's what life is, right? We're just gonna sit and enjoy everything, and everything's gonna be fun. We never have to grind out anything.
Right. But yeah, I would say the one style of offense, the one style of offense you can't play with small kids is like power football. Like you can't line up in a power I and have nobody that's over 200 pounds.
Yeah, there's
and expect.
Yeah.
But I think wing T lends itself to that, and that's like truthfully, depending on what style of spread you're playing, also lends yourself to that.
Yeah, honestly, I would agree with that because honestly, too, like if you run like inside zone and outside zone and veer with your end, I like that because you're not blocking all 11 guys, you're reading one, and you have basically it turns into 11 on 10 because of the read. And that's always an advantage. And honestly, too, that's why Flexbone is so nice. It turns into 11 on 9 because 2 guys are reads. And like, that's why it's so scary too. Like, God, I love and hate that offense all at the same time. But I digress again. We're going to keep going because
this kind of ties into it here. But this is another one. I think we had one already from Coach Naismith. But Coach Naismith from New York, small high school, 0 QB depth. Been there. Are you letting your QB play both sides of the ball?
I am. You are not?
No, absolutely not.
I am.
Like he could be a straight stud. Like Troy Polamalu could walk in and he could be like, "Well, I want to play quarterback, but I also would love to play middle linebacker for you." And I'd be like, "That's great, Troy. You're playing quarterback, so you get to play quarterback."
So we didn't have very much depth. Like we did have a backup quarterback, but I felt like he was just too nervous to even get in. But anyways, that's beside the point. Our starting quarterback played both ways. He was our strong safety and he was our quarterback. But honestly, too, you got to think about like the type of kid you have. Like, does he have the mentality and the body build for it? Physically, can he take that punishment? And physically, is he in shape enough to give you what you need? At quarterback, it wasn't terrible because honestly, he would just turn his back and hand the ball off for the most part. But we needed someone to carry out fakes better than what we had. And honestly, there were times where you could tell he was lazy and he was tired from playing defense, that his fakes were terrible. But I mean, I'm letting him play both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I try to have as few kids as possible playing both ways.
Yeah. I mean, we tried to. I think we had 20 out of 22 one-way starters.
Okay.
So we had 2 kids going both ways.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the other side of where I'm coming from. But for me, the quarterback is so important to what we do offensively.
That's true.
Not in what the wing T, like carrying out the fake, making sure you get your footwork right as far as, I mean, we talked about before, if it's sloppy, it's not the end of the world. But if it's crisp and clean and the fake's carried out correctly, it works a lot better.
Right. Yeah. It works way better.
Right. You're going to draw a defender or 2 with you because they think you might still have the ball. They got to honor you.
Yeah.
And for me, running an air raid offense where I'm throwing the ball, 40, 50 times a game, I need someone there that's gone and gotten all those reps.
Definitely.
Not that we don't rep our number 2 that much in practice. We rep him a bunch, but he doesn't get the game reps.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to risk my season or the kid's season on, hey, yeah, why don't you go play safety or you go play DN? We'll find someone that's more than serviceable to go play another spot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm reading this next question. I think we've kind of answered this a little bit before.
Right.
But, let's try a couple of questions. Yeah, dude. There's a whole backstory to these. Okay, so I'm watching film and losing my mind. I think we've all been there. I think plenty of whiskey and whatever you decide to drink has been drinking plenty of times from watching Huddle. How do y'all coach effort in your offensive line? We're 6 games in, and I lose my mind watching film every week. We've tried to preach effort and going to the whistle, but clearly words aren't working. A couple of weeks ago, we also implemented a board drill competition to as many days as possible. I know killer instinct and effort can't really be coached, but it's about want to. Please give me some coaching. Coach Nikolai. Nikolai. I would say that's Nikolai. I'm terrible with names, bro. Yeah, I really am. Unless it's like some Hispanic name, like I can pronounce all of those. I'm fine. I think we've talked about that already too, but whatever. What do you got for this guy? Anything?
So what I got is, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like to me your kids are tired.
Could be.
Like overworking them, and come game day, they're done. And like you want the best out of them on Friday, you don't want the best out of them on Tuesday.
Mhm.
So you need to kind of scale back what you're doing and give them some time to recover and repair themselves and get kind of their legs under them, because big guys take a lot of energy, and that means they also take a lot of time to recover. So you can't be grinding them out day in, day out, and then expect game day to come. Oh, well, we built you up. No, you tore them down the whole time.
Yeah, okay.
So that would be, from kind of what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting from this question is that you're beating the crap out of these kids so much during the week that game day comes and they just don't have anything left in that tank.
Sure. I'm going to kind of piggyback off you, but also answer it a little bit differently. So with us, our linemen are super important, right? I mean, all linemen are super important. Linemen win you the game. Like that's how I see it. Linemen are game winner type guys that never get celebrated. But we schedule our practices around our O-line. Like that's just how I decided to do it. That's why I've talked to other guys and they do it that way too. Like for example, if my O-line coach tells me that we're going to be hitting the sled today, and we're supposed to work out that same day, because we work out on, like, the skill guys will work out and then the O-line will have the field and we'll flip. But if the O-line guys are hitting the sled, we're not squatting that day. You know what I mean? Because they're already pushing, and they're using their legs for the sled. So our whole practice schedule is around our O-linemen. And even with like our special team stuff, we don't have any O-line on special teams unless we're doing field goal, and that's extra time our guys get. Now, having said that, with your overworking them, we do tend to work our linemen really hard, but we do hold back on them too. Like we tell them, no, we're not there's no contact today, because we do kind of kick their butt in the beginning of the week, but towards the end of the week there's still contact, but we're a lot lighter with how many reps they're taking. There's one thing. Two, if we're talking about like motivation, you got to find like their currency, like what matters to them. Obviously you can't give them money, but like what do they want? What do they feel rewarded by? Or maybe like you can do like a punishment, or I don't know, like the way I would see it we could do one of two things. You can figure out some type of reward system where you reward the good behavior, and that usually works better. One of the things that was simple for our linemen one year was like they wanted pancakes. So like, we would make them pancakes, and on top of that, they got pancake stickers on their helmet. So that worked out really well. But one group, that wasn't their thing, and they didn't want to be responsible for the team being mad at them. So it was like, all right, cool. With every loaf, like the team will run, you will watch, just like in the game, right? You're watching them run. Like this is what happens when you don't hustle. And that worked well one year, but like, again, I think for this, you got to just find what motivates the kid. It's kind of like, in the classroom, what is the kid's currency to do the work or to try? Same idea in football. It's just an outdoor classroom, the field, right?
No, agree with you there, because like truthfully, your O-line coach is probably, I would say, arguably your most important coach.
Yeah, I would say like it's us as head coaches, and then the O-line coach is like right underneath that. Like it's that's how it is. Like That guy is the most important guy, and it still makes me sad because our O-line coach opted out because of COVID this year. We have a replacement, and he's really, really good. Don't get me wrong; like he knows what he's doing. But the one that we had, he was the man. Like let's just be honest. All right, let's go to the next one.
Oh, fine. I won't give my answer.
Oh, there's more. My bad.
I was going to give you. I was going to give you.
I touched you off. I didn't know.
I was going to give you another tidbit.
Okay.
But one of the rewards my O-line coach gives, or not even necessarily reward. I guess it's a reward. But on Fridays before the game, if they had something in practice, he'll make up some number or do some sort of kind of competition throughout the week that he keeps track of. He never really tells me what he does, but the linemen get to come into his room by themselves, like with him prior to the game, and he'll buy McDonald's double cheeseburgers for him.
Oh God. Double cheeseburger before the game. Yep, that's a lineman for sure.
right. But for the last couple of years that they've loved it. Like that's been their
currency,
thing.
Right?
Like,
their currency.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So go with what works. Are you ready now? Are you ready for the next one? I don't know.
Another lineman question.
Okay.
Another lineman question. This coming from Dominic D. Filippo out in the UK. All right, coming from England. Yeah, this is actually an athlete. What are ways or techniques I can do in pass block to not lean forward?
Oh, so
I got my answer. What do you?
I don't know.
Your guy
pass the ball. Like our guys slide left or slide right. Yeah, I'm not honestly, dude. That's one of the things that I suck at is coaching O-line. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not good at it. I could do it if I had to, but not to lean forward. I don't know.
Yeah. So
look up Paul Alexander.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. Yeah,
I would look how your feet are. That would be a big thing, and also how your hands are. If your hands are still really low, you're just going to slouch forward naturally. If your hands are a little bit higher, you want your hands almost where you're striking. So if your hands are about chest high, you're going to naturally bring your shoulders back. It's just naturally your body wants to do that. The other thing with your feet is you don't want them necessarily close together, and you don't want them parallel. You're going to want your outside foot further back and your inside foot further forward. The other thing that's worked well is I actually heard from I'll throw Patrick Taylor. He was on Nate's show the other day. Patrick Taylor said that they do stop pedal and a brake pedal with their feet. So their forward foot is their go pedal and a brake pedal, stopping breaker, same thing. Mm-hmm. A go pedal and a brake pedal. So their foot forward is their go pedal, and their foot backwards is their brake pedal. And so with your brake pedal, you want to turn it just ever so slightly, so that then when you're leaning back, you kind of catch yourself, and then you also bring your shoulders so they're a little bit taller. It just takes practice and takes reps, but it's definitely something that's fixable, and it's definitely something that I would also use medicine balls. Don't just do it on air the whole time, because then you're going to naturally a couple times, oh yeah, this feels real good, this feels real good, and then you go to do it, and then you're going to slouch over.
Sure.
Because then you're starting to push weight. So I'd get a medicine ball, and I'd even put it in my workout routine. So maybe I just get 3 sets of 10 on my left foot back, 3 sets of 10 with my right foot back, and just work different medicine balls every week and work it up to you could do with almost a 30-pound, 40-pound medicine ball.
Sure.
And then that way you also get kind of a nice little push with your hands.
Learned something new today. Thanks, Mac.
Well, just trying to educate you on football.
Okay. Program type questions. Here we go.
All right.
I'm not sure which ones I like more. I think these ones are interesting though too. What does everyone do for staff game plan install meetings? Do you have the whole staff meet over the weekend? Please speak up if you have limited to no meetings. And that's Coach Mace out in Colorado. Okay, so the coaches meet on Saturday after the game. I usually bring coffee. and maybe some food. Sometimes the coach usually brings food. Like there just has to be there. It's usually in my classroom. And then the offensive guys will sometimes go to the O-line coach's classroom, but usually we're meeting as a whole staff. We talk a little bit about last night's game, what we think we could improve on, what we thought we did well. And then we break down that film. And then if we don't have film on the next team, then we just leave for the day. And then on Sunday, I'll send them, hopefully we have the film by then, and then we'll just do our own breakdowns and then kind of talk about it through text or phone calls. Our meeting usually goes from like maybe 8 to 10:30. So 2.5 hours for the coaches. But I mean, now with all the Zoom stuff, honestly, like I might just do meetings and you're at home. You know, like why even leave? We have all this stuff now. Like everyone has this, you know, Zoom or, you know, Google Meet or whatever the hell. Like we might just do that. And we might even be shorter, you know, like I've seen coaches, you know, use a Google Doc and they type their stuff in there and you give them a job of what you want them to look at every single time. If you don't have Huddle Assist, which is pretty expensive, if you don't have it, I would assign each coach a section to break down. And as a defensive coordinator, I'm probably doing the like formation and plays with, you know, that type of stuff. But like, you know, like a lower level coach or maybe like, you know, your young 20-year-old coach that, you know, thinks they can take the world on, make them do the down and distance and all that crap. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that you really is tedious, make them do that shit. Cause that's what it's for. And I mean, I started doing that when I first started coaching, you know, that's how you just go up from there. What do you got, Mac?
So we don't meet at all on the weekends.
Okay.
I give our staff and our players Saturday, Sunday off, as long as we're not playing on Saturdays. And that I started truthfully last year, because prior to that we'd bring them in, and I would get frustrated because we have a lot of kids that are working, and we'd always get the, hey, well, I have to go to work, I can't be here the whole time. And it was like, there were enough kids that were doing that I wasn't going to sit there and
it's like, why fight it, right?
Right. So like, I'm going to take the headache out and get rid of it. And we actually had less injuries this past year, and our coaches were much kind of more energized throughout the whole season and at the end of the season.
Sure.
Just with that grind.
So how did you guys talk about game plan and stuff if you guys didn't meet?
Right. So game planning, like really, we have 4 varsity coaches. So I would not even really meet. I would just text with my O-line coach and I'd say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And this kind of helps with not having a large playbook of like, hey, we're probably going to just run these plays. This is what I'm thinking of coming out with against this formation. So it's not like our game plan is going to take that long. It's more so, hey, who are their dudes that we either want to attack or want to run away from, kind of a deal.
Sure.
And so he would do like their front and their blitzes, and I would do their coverage and tackles. And that's how we would break up the defensive scout film. And then our defense would DC and his assistant they'd break up however they broke. I didn't really ask because I didn't care. But I would be in with them and just, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you guys thinking for the week? They'd give me a brief, very brief kind of rundown of what they want so that I know what the scout team needs to do for them. They'd do like top 3 runs, top 3 passes, and then any goofy formations that we'd have to line up to.
Are you responsible for the play cards, or is he? He
is.
Yeah, attaboy. I'm so anal about the play cards. Like, I mean, I'm the defensive coordinator, right? So I just make them myself. But like, even if I wasn't, I'm so anal about the play cards. Like, coach in particular had 8 plays on one sheet, split into 8s. I'm like, what the? How are the kids supposed to see that shit? Oh man!
I explained how the play card had to look.
Yeah,
like you have to use our formation, our verbiage, and I need one on it. Like if you're going to draw them up, that's fine, but they need to be one on a sheet. Like It was there was some criteria.
Yeah, I do. Next time it needs to be. But honestly, dude, like if I don't know if you guys have the money for it, but I think I've said it before. Check out Go Route. Like that shit made especially our scout team just move, man. And we had like 2 or 3 plays a minute with that. Like that was incredible. So little plug
Well,
for
and
Go
that
Route.
to me, that's worth its weight in gold. Like, because that's the worst part is your scout team. Because those kids, even though they're there every day, they're going to go up and go, oh, well, what do I have to run here?
Mhm.
Because on the scout card, it's a little squiggly line, and they're like,
Yep.
what is it? It's like, dude, just do roughly what it says.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have
It was
to
nice
mirror
too.
it exactly.
We would play a lot of spread teams, right? So every position had a color. So
Okay.
like I would match the scout kid to about what I thought, their level, the opposite
Right.
kid would be. Is like, okay, you're red, you're blue, you're green, you're yellow, whatever. And then the O line, like that was just our O line. So they kind of knew what they were doing regardless. And sometimes our second string quarterback was the guy, or maybe it was even our offensive coordinator. He liked to get out there until he's figured out that he's old. And he's like, oh God, I can't do this. But yeah, man, like Go Route, you're right. Worth its weight in gold. Like it's phenomenal. Okay.
I'm going to write that down because I need to look that up again this week.
You should. It's expensive though. I'm not going to lie. Like to start up, it's expensive. But once you have it, I think it's like $500 a year to keep the subscription.
Okay.
It's really not
Okay.
bad.
But that startup is
Yeah,
all
the
right.
startup is what kills you. All right, so this guy's talking about his off-season stuff. So Coach Ramo,
Back across the pond.
what was that?
Coach Ramo.
Yeah,
Coach Ramo.
in Sweden.
Yeah.
So coaches, the regular season in under 19 in Sweden is over. And so is the football year for us. And I plan to wrap up numbers and performance for the year during this week. And I'm just wondering, how do you self-evaluate your performance as coaches at matches? I think it's funny they say matches. For my own development, I want to break down my own play calling and wonder if you have any good tips or methods for it. So if you're the offensive coordinator, I would look at myself through a defensive coordinator's eyes. Like if you have a defensive coordinator that you trust, whether it's your defensive coordinator or another team that not in your league or whatever, ask them to send them film and ask them to break you down. And that way you can see your tendencies of what you did, what you called, and your favorite plays. Obviously, like you have certain plays in mind, but then you look at it like, oh shit, I didn't realize I called that play so often. And then you can look at what you called in different situations. For me on defense, what I'm looking for is like how good we were on first and third down. Third down is really big, because obviously it's fourth down, the next down, and that gets you off the field. So I look at the percentage of how good we were and what I called during that time period against a certain kind of offense or whatever. And that helps myself, break down me, like, maybe I shouldn't have called that. And, there are plays in there where I was like, Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? Like, why did I call that coverage? And, and it just kind of, I beat myself up. I'm like, fuck, I should not have done that. Because I couldn't even blame the kids. Like that was my call. I told them to do this, and I was like, shit, that was 3rd and 5 on a real crucial situation, and I kind of messed that one up. So I mean, there's always things you can learn. What do you got, Mac?
For like the offense, I would say I look at what plays were called and what gives us kind of the most bang for our buck kind of a deal. Like we called mesh 100 times, but it only averaged 3 yards of play.
Oh, okay.
That's really, and that's truthfully why I got away from being a double tight jet team, was because jet, yes, we'd have those big booming jet plays, but then in between it was 1 yard, -6. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really helpful.
Sure.
But also if you're saying that you're a team that's going to, like when I first got the EP, we were supposed to be a veer team. Well, we went back and looked. We ran veer 20% of the time. So I don't know that you could say you're a veer team if you run veer 20% of the time.
What the hell did you run? Belly and down?
Lots of stuff.
Lots of other things.
It wasn't when I was the head coach.
Oh,
I was an O-line coach at that point.
Got you.
But we ran a lot of stuff. So it would be like now if I'm saying, oh, we're a pass first team, and I go back and look and we're running the ball 60-70% of the time. Well,
You're not
then
a
I
pass first
probably
team.
want to look right. And I want to look at, well, why was that? Is that because there was a pass play called and it was an RPO and we gave because that was the look? Okay, well, if that's the case, then maybe we got to adjust some of our looks so we get the read we want, right? So I think that's kind of what you have to do. And Huddle makes it easy with their reports. So
Definitely.
unfortunately, I have to plug Huddle here, but
Yeah.
they do make it easy. The
I'm really
reports.
interested though to see those other programs. Like I want to throw my film in there and see how easy the reports are. But you're right, dude. Like we did the same thing. We looked at like how often we ran a play, but then we looked at the average per play when we ran that.
Mhm.
And there was one play we thought we ran well, but it turned out we only got like 3 yards of carry. We're like, we're not fucking running this shit anymore. Like,
Right.
yeah, that's done. Like, I mean, 3 yards is fine if you want to play 3 yards in a cloud of dust every single time, but like we ran power and we averaged like 7.5 yards a game, or a play on power. And we're like, well, obviously we're keeping power, but when we ran, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Sally, like, one of the counter ones. We just weren't good at it. And we thought we're like, all right, we got Sally, we're good. And then we started looking at it, we're like, holy shit, nope. We didn't install Sally this past year because we looked at the numbers from the previous year before that, and no, thank you.
And that's why I think you have to do this a couple times a year. You need to do this maybe after about 30-year games, and then about the 2/3 mark, and then at the end.
Sure.
I don't know if you need to do it every quarter. Being in a high school situation, you guys only have 10 games. I got 9.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it would necessarily make most sense, like every 2 games doing this.
No, yeah.
But like, for us, Y Cross was a huge play.
Mm-hmm.
Y Cross was a huge play, but I didn't call it as often as I probably should have.
So next year, if you guys are playing EP, mesh and Y Cross. I mean, they look very similar, but they're not.
Just nonstop.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Coach Braxton, go for
out
it.
in Virginia. Yeah, we got to work on this. The timing of who's reading what question.
We'll just switch every single time.
Right. We should just do that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Coach Braxton out in Virginia. What are the benefits of having super wide splits like myself or super tight splits like Gonzalez? So why would you do that?
How wide are your splits?
So we're pretty wide. We're pretty wide. We go like 3 feet to 4 feet, depending on. So I'll go 2 to 3 feet between the center and the guard, depending on the situation, depending on what we're seeing. But we try to go 3 feet between center and guard, and then 3 to 4 feet between guard and tackle.
We're pretty close. Ours is 2,
okay.
and then the tight ends 3.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's still the same, but honestly, okay. So hang on, let me preface this question. So I was at a clinic, and there was a veer team, a flexbone team. They would adjust and change their splits according to what they were doing, right? And according to how far the defense would adjust. So they basically turned midline and inside veer into a 2-man game according to their split. Like it's on freaking film. It was amazing. They were out like the linemen did this, and they were out hella wide on one side, and I was like, what the hell is this defense doing? Like they're making it easy. But yeah, dude, they ran midline, and the 3 technique went out wide with the 3 technique. They ran right up the strong A gap. This kid had no shot. And like it just
that was as wide as a bus.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, how is this defensive coordinator still have a job? Like, what is happening right now? But it was amazing. So that's what I would see the benefit of, super wide split is you can you can mess with D line and linebackers alignments, creating bigger gaps for yourself to run into. I can't necessarily do that in a wing T so much because there's so many, the angles then tend to get messed up.
Right.
So if they shoot the gap, we're screwed in the backfield. But like with flexbone, like I would do, if they're going to go out 6 feet with you, take them 6 feet. You know what I mean? Like if they're going to line up with you, do that. You did the, super tight splits, but the way I see it is like, the double tight, double wing guys, they're usually foot to foot, and they're running power, and they want everything condensed in that box, and they're just going to run you over and run you over and run you over. And that's probably the benefit of being super tight is no one's cutting through that gap. There's no gap to get through. So if you're walling and then kicking and then there's no gap, How are you going to get through that? I don't know.
Right. Well, and we did super tight when we were running a lot of jet, because then that edge is there quicker.
Dances everybody down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now we're pretty wide, but that gives us better throwing lanes, and then also the geometry of it all. If you're going to play a 5 technique, the distance that D end has to cover, because just like you said, that 3 tech on the veer team or on the midline team, he's thinking, okay, well, I got to be on the outside shade of the guard. So as the guard moves out, so does he, right? Well, same thing with 5. As that tackle moves out, he's moving out. And now that means he just has to cover more space to get to the quarterback, which that creates our time. And so for us, that's the biggest reason we use those kind of super wide splits. And it also gives us some nice passing lanes because you don't have bodies in the way.
Yeah. I like that. So, okay. I'm satisfied with that answer.
Okay, good.
Okay. Next question. I want to become a coach, but I'm not a teacher. So what do I do? Coach Demetrius Flax in, I think that's Mississippi.
Yeah.
Right. You go first.
Yep. So I don't know what exactly you got to do in Mississippi. I can tell you what you got to do in Illinois. So if you want to come up to Illinois, Elmwood Park, we always love volunteers. But you got to be ASEP certified through, I don't even know what the organization's called, but it's ASEP. And then you have to normally pass a background check and get registered with the IHSA, so the Illinois High School Sports Association. So that's for us. That's all you have to do. You don't actually have to be a teacher. Now, I know down in Texas, if you're not a part of the school, you can't coach. I know that was one of the things I heard a coach in Texas say.
Yeah.
So I don't know for you, Gonzalez. How is it?
So for us, it's kind of like you guys. You don't have to be a teacher in order to coach. In Mississippi, I don't know the rules. So here's what I would do first is I would actually, this is how I got my first coaching job actually, was I was fresh out of college and I just emailed a bunch of high school head coaches that were in the area that I was living in. And I'm like, hey, this is my situation. You know, I'm able to come to practices, blah, blah, blah. You know, these are the positions I played and what I would feel comfortable coaching. Do you have a spot open where you feel like I could help out? And I think out of 5 high schools, back then I got 1 email back and he interviewed me and I got hired right then and there. So once, you know, you have that, you know, agreement with the head coach, like, yeah, I want to bring you on. And that's how I kind of do it now too, is like, you know, I'll interview the guy before I even make him go through the hiring process. But for us, you got to be NHFS certified. NFHS certified, right? Yeah. And then you have to go through background checks for sure. And then you got to take all the courses that come with it. We started doing a program with, or, you know, all the certifications include like, you know, CPR, cardiac arrest, heat stroke stuff. You know, there's stuff that you have to complete before you can be allowed to be on the field with the kids. But I mean, yeah, you do not have to be a teacher in order to be a coach in California either. So yeah, that was it. I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. It's not a hard deal.
No, as long as your state isn't one that requires you to be a teacher. Like there's tons of but definitely make that call. And especially if you're willing to volunteer, there's very few schools that are going to say, yeah, no, we're good. We don't need volunteers.
Unless you really don't know football. And
even then, if you can if you can handle keeping the balls dry or keeping the kids back, getting water bottles up.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
managers that can learn the game of football.
To a certain point, I would agree with that. But then, like, you know, you can't be annoying though either. You know, like if you're one of those guys that, you know, just I don't even know how to say it. Like you're always, I don't like doing that because, you know, that's, you know, this is what I know. Like, wait a minute, but you agreed to come onto this staff, to this program, and this is what we do here. That's when I'm like, dude, I fucked up. I should have hired somebody else. I don't know.
This is going to be a long year.
Yeah. I think it's your turn now.
Yeah, so this comes from Coach Armar out in New Jersey. He has a question about the PVC arches being used during practice. So what Kenny Simpson uses. Do you guys have kind of blueprints, or how do you make them?
Okay, hang on. Answer the last question. I just Googled Mississippi high school coaching requirements. So Google that, and it actually has a checklist for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the internet has freaking everything, right? And I think Coach Simpson actually shared those PVC pipe hurdle like dimensions, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've built them before I knew, truthfully, before Coach Simpson, who he was. But like, they're not. You really want to create them for however tall your kids are. Because I talked to, Coach Hurd out in at Indiana University. Not IU, but whatever. But he has them, but his guys, he's like, his shortest guy is like 6'1", 6'2". So he's like that. His hurdles that he uses for his receivers are very different than the hurdles that I would use for my tallest kid being 6'1".
Sure.
You know? And he was like, for the most part, they go up to about the chest. He was like, we shoot to get to about their chest, so they have to sink under them. But so just kind of take your measurements. Normally it's like 3 feet wide is what I go.
Okay.
You need 2 corners, so 2
elbows,
90-degree out.
Right, and then like 2 bottom parts, so 2 T's.
Yeah. So
caps,
2 T's.
Unless you don't want to cap it.
So I don't cap it. So what I do is I put like 12 inches of PVC on either side so that it stays upright a little bit longer.
Okay.
Like, I think Coach does where it's kind of like another 90-degree so that it can fall forward if it needs to.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean, honestly, dude,
there's
like
a million different ways.
Yeah, I'm sure you can Google PVC hurdle too, and then figure out some type of thing that would be good for you.
There's not as much out there as you think.
Really?
The last time I checked. And like now I've made them, so I don't check anymore. But 4 years ago when I started making them, they didn't have that much out there.
I mean, there's a bunch of pictures.
Yes, there's tons of pictures. And like, so just kind of mirror the pictures.
Yeah.
And really, you just want to build it to the height of your kid. And remember, you want them to go under the hurdle, so don't make it as tall as them.
How much is PVC pipe? Like what, $25?
That's the big key. Yeah. And I would say the other thing is you want to get at least an inch. I think the one I'm using is 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches is pretty easy to work with, and then I just use the Sawzall to cut it.
Nice.
Instead of a hacksaw.
Yeah.
It goes a lot faster.
Yeah,
I mean, I've used that, and the hacksaw, you're sitting there for like 30 minutes going at it. I'm like, you gotta shit me.
No, dude, Sawzall just done.
Right. I'm making 6 of these.
Yeah. I like that.
Enough of them.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Coach Solomon out in California. What do you do when you're working with parents who may not have money for their talented child to go to special training, camps, or tournaments, and maybe even the basic needs to even play? Okay, so if they don't have the basic needs to play, so I'm assuming that they probably don't have money for like what, cleats. Like we have in our district, we have travel fees. Honestly, dude, that's where like fundraising comes in. Because I make my kids buy a spirit pack every year, but if they can't pay for it, I tell them, okay, then you have to sell this or you have to do this in order to raise the money to get it. And usually it's nothing big. Like we have these like boxes of candy that we buy for $50, but when they sell them, they sell each candy for $2. So they get $100 back. And obviously $20 is what their spirit pack costs. So I just sell me 1 box of candy and here's stuff, As for cleats, we kind of have like a big box in our locker room, and that has a bunch of like, donors, right? So kids who are
that's a nice way for
me. Kids that are seniors, they throw their stuff in there if they, don't want to keep it. And usually a kid will find something in there. We've had a few times though, where the whole team is chipped in and we bought cleats for a kid. That was kind of nice. Like everyone, there's like 50 of us. So we each put in $2. and the kid didn't know it. And obviously some of the coaches put in a little bit more than $2. And we bought him brand new cleats, and he's never had brand new cleats. So that was actually a really cool little moment. For special training and camps, dude, like I'm not sure how they're gonna get there if they don't have the money to do it. Like I don't even know how much those things cost. I'm not gonna lie. Like all the kids that have gone, they've covered it themselves. They had their little side job hustles that they do to do it if they wanted to. I tell them, I can encourage them to go if they have the shot. But I wouldn't know about that at all.
Yeah, and same here. I mean, as far as the cleats and the equipment, like we have truthfully a ridiculous amount that kids just leave in the locker room. So we take it at the end of the year. We give them like 3 weeks to come and collect it, and at the end of that 3 weeks,
then
it goes in the bin. And like the next year, kids normally will come in and be like, "Oh man, those are my cleats.
Too bad."
And I'm like,
"They're mine now."
Do you want them? And they're like, "No, I got new ones." I'm like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah.
Cool, man. You didn't play because your cleats look brand new that are in this bin, but that's not but we can normally find ones in there. And then for the special training, if it's a kid that is really has a shot to go kind of well beyond like a Division III school, like maybe the coach will talk to the coaches. I've never had that happen. Normally there's someone involved at that point that's pushing them into those camps. But yeah, we'd try to figure out a way, I guess, if we felt that it would be a really good fit, especially depending on their home life or kind of situation. But yeah, for the most part, it's kind of pay your own way.
Sure.
Yeah, some of them are really expensive. Some of them are like $250.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't know how. Right, for like a 1 or 2
10 games, because obviously, like you're not wearing these cleats at practice. Like, what the hell? What is this?
Oh, I was talking the camps.
Oh, the camps. Yeah, those too. Like, those are hella expensive too. Like, geez.
Right, and plus they have to get there. So
and then
the thing is, I wouldn't
travel
want to throw money out there if knowing like their family situation or home life isn't a guarantee that they're going to get to that. So like then I'd also probably be the ones taking them, which is frowned upon in our district. So
yeah,
there'd be a lot of gray areas in that. So I don't know exactly. That'd be a little trickier, but definitely the cleats and equipment, we have them covered. So all right, second to last question.
Your choice. Okay, never mind. Let's go for it.
Oh yeah, no, we're answering this one.
Okay.
All right.
What do you think?
I coach 9 and 10-year-olds, and I'm looking for a Maryland Eye package to install because this wing my OC's running is not working, mainly because we're getting overmatched at the line of scrimmage. Coach Anderson from Florida.
I know you liked this one to start. Do you want to start this one?
Sure. Like,
remember, coach is feeling a little like saucy today, so he had that full night of sleep. The wit is definitely there.
Going from a wing formation to a Maryland Eye, I don't know is necessarily going to fix your problem. So just put it as nicely as possible. So I'm hoping you're reading between the lines on that one. But I would just say, like, what you guys are doing, if you're getting overmatched at the line of scrimmage, switching to another offense that you're going to have a strong front seven might not be your best bet. Like at that point, maybe you look at, like, quite frankly, at Elmwood Park, if we were to go to a Maryland Eye or wing T look, we would get blown off the ball because we don't come off the ball very well. We could do great in pass sets. That's why we throw the ball. But we do not do great going forward. So if that's the case, then maybe you want to look, do we throw the ball more? And maybe you put in just some basic quick game stuff. I mean, you're talking week 6 now. Or, I mean, you're pretty well through your season. So maybe you do something like that to kind of band-aid the rest of your season to get to the end. Just even to put points up on the board, get kids excited, and just more so to get them excited to keep playing football. And who knows, maybe turn things around.
Sure.
And then that would kind of be my answer. But to go from the wing to a Maryland I don't know that solves your problem of being overmatched at the line of scrimmage.
Yep. Okay, so here's how I see it. First of all, like you have 9 and 10-year-olds, right? And you guys already run a power type of football game, right? So you want to install something in the middle of the season, and if you're trying to look for a package, that means you don't know that, right? So you are trying to install something that you already don't know, but and that's never good. Like I'm thinking about installing something that I know nothing about, but I'm talking to Coach Mack and asking him how the hell he does mesh because I know nothing about it. I know the routes do this, and then he runs outs, but like, are there other things to do? Like, how do I teach the crossers? Like, do I teach them to stop in a zone or keep running in man? I don't know. So like, I'm trying to learn before my season starts. That way, when I do install it, I have answers for my kids that will have questions because they have never done this before. So if you're trying to find a package and you know nothing about it, what's going to happen? I mean, you have 9 and 10-year-olds, they might not have questions. They might just say, I'm going to do what coach tells me, but like, you have to be able to fix it. There's one thing. 2, it sounds like to me, you're saying this thing is not working, but how well are you guys coaching it, and how much has your staff bought into it? Because if you guys aren't bought into it, you're going to coach it like shit. Like it's going to be bad because you guys don't believe in it. So like, it might be too late to scrap it all and, revamp the whole offense. Maybe when it gets to next year, or, you guys have a staff meeting or whatever, you guys talk about something that you think your kids could do well and something you can coach well. Not just, I'm going to pick this, let's try that. Or I'm going to pick this, let's do this. No, like what type of kids do you guys have? What can you coach? Because you have to be able to coach and then fix the problems that the defense presents to you, no matter what, because you're getting outmatched. Okay, if you're getting outmatched, like maybe you can run a different series in the wing offense. Like it could be double wing or single wing, but if it's single wing, bro, I've seen that thing like hit. Think about it this way too. Every offense is designed to work. You know what I mean? Like no offense out there is like, oh yeah, we're just going to snap the ball and they're going to tackle us and it's going to be, no, every offense is supposed to put up points. So that means that maybe how you guys are coaching it isn't working, and the kids are only executing what you guys are telling them, but it's not working because you don't have the type of kid you're trying to do. Tyler Ferris, I did a presentation with him and they ran a single wing. They won, I think it was Virginia's, one of the classification state title in one formation running the single wing. Like that just means he knows what the hell he's doing. That's basically how I see it. Buy into a system, don't dabble. But then I'm kind of dabbling. I'm like, being a hypocrite, but I'm just interested in what other guys are doing to how to incorporate it in the stuff that I like to do. And honestly, I'm not the first person to do this because if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, that dude, Rick Stewart, he's already talking about, air raid pistol wing T. So, I'm not the only crazy one. So you cannot tell me that I'm a hypocrite now, suckers. Anyways, last question.
Starting to go down the air raid rabbit hole.
Here we go. It's the last question. So, I'm about to lose my shit. This one's not really a program type of question or offense or defense thing. I saw this on Facebook and I thought it was kind of an interesting one. Best football movies. You want to go top 3?
Okay.
Or best one. I don't know. See, like best one, that's too hard. Top 3 I got.
Right.
All right. Go with your bottom third. What do you got?
The Replacements.
Shit, that was mine. That was mine. No, for real. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love Shane Falco.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I was really hoping Washington would name their team the Sentinels because of the Replacements.
That would be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it just had everything, Yeah. The kicker that's smoking on the field.
Yes. Like, funny. Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. Go number 2.
Oh, number 2. I really like Draft Day.
Oh, really?
Kevin Costner? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And Black Panther's in it.
Oh, is he? I never watched it. I've never seen that one, so I don't know.
Oh,
It's the one with the
yeah,
Browns,
you got one.
right?
Yeah, he's the GM for the Browns.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of cheat number 2, I think, because honestly, I should have said top 5, but whatever. So I'm gonna just say it's a tie for me. The Program. Do you remember that one? Like that
I know the program.
80s one or 90s?
Oh, no, I know it.
Yeah. Maybe some people don't know it. And then Varsity Blues.
Okay.
Yeah, Varsity Blues, probably because of the teacher, was the best part. But anyways, that's
for sure.
If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying. All right, Jesus.
Oh.
But yeah, Mox was I liked that story.
That would be my ideal quarterback, right there.
Moxon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's an improviser type of kid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
He had some great accuracy. Like,
all right.
I mean,
your number 1 is my number 1. I'm about to lose my shit. What's your number 1?
My number 1's Any Given Sunday.
Oh, dang. Stephen Willie Beeman.
That's right.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. I like that. That one didn't even come in my head. That's a good one, though. Damn. My number 1, Remember the Titans.
That's like top 5. It would be in there, but like as far as 3 goes, yeah, like that was probably would be my like 4 or 5.
Okay, I mean I kind of cheated. I threw 4 in there, but I mean I saw that question.
It was like Waterboy's in there.
Waterboy's definitely like that was like on the border of number 3 for sure.
Right. Like, yeah.
I mean, if you guys have a favorite movie, type that in the comments because I'm interested. There might be something I haven't seen, like, would you say Draft Day?
Draft Day was good.
Never seen that.
I really like it, but I'm a big Kevin Costner fan, so can't
really. Interesting. Yeah. He's got some good ones. Like, he's in Field of Dreams too, right?
Yep, Field of Dreams, For Love of the Game.
Yeah. Oh, that one too. God dang, he's got more sports movies than I thought.
Yeah.
All right, with that question, we are done.
All right.
So let's get out of here.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, you want to send them our way, please do. We love your questions. We love that you guys are interacting and giving us some stuff to talk about. We appreciate you watching. What?
I said unless it's 9-man.
Right. Unless it's something that we know nothing about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's very few things.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're tuning in to Chief Pigskin TV. Nate had the Air Raid
Hangout.
Air Raid Hangout. He had Patrick Taylor, Piscopo, and Weeks on, and that was pretty good. But he's been doing that all, I think, Monday through Thursday now.
I think so.
So a bunch of great stuff. He's showing some of the clinics on there. And then also go to the online clinic, right? We should probably plug that.
Clinic.chiefpigskin.com. I think I got that right this time. But yeah, check it out. We got a bunch of good stuff on there. And I know you haven't watched it, but there's a brand new one with the Wing T Second Man and a belly presentation. I got to watch that. I tried, but there was no sound. I don't know if it was my thing or if it was on. I don't know. I'll talk to Nate, though.
Yep. So, all right, guys. Till next week.
Week 7. See you guys later.